This episode is sponsored by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro for free at RamseySolutions.com/invest. You're listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires, where we talk investing, retirement, building wealth, and outrageous generosity.
So first up, we have Ian out of Portland, Oregon. Hey, Ian, welcome to the show.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Ian. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
So
How can we help?
I'm in a bit of a juncture in my life where I'm buying purchasing my third house, which will be my primary house since I'm really moving. I have two existing mortgages, and I was wondering what to do with them. The two options have come up in my mind is one, I can have pay both those mortgages off because I have enough savings to pay them off, and subsequently have renters pay my primary / third mortgage. That way I lose, I kind of get rid of two mortgages and I just have one primary mortgage. That's sort of the foreseeable advantage I have. The option B is I leave the two long-term renters in my two existing mortgages, properties, and then I pay myself for the third mortgage. Three mortgages is what the caveat here is, that I have to handle versus one mortgage in option A. I need some help with deciphering which would be a better option for me.
Okay. Well, if I'm in your shoes, I would want my primary mortgage paid off, but I also don't like the risk of having two mortgages sitting out there with renters. And so if I'm in your shoes and you can pay off both mortgages today, I'd rather you leave with one mortgage than multiple. So what is the balances of the two existing mortgages?
Yeah, the first balance is about $25,000. The other one is $150,000, so $175,000 total.
And how much do you have in savings?
I've got about $500,000.
Wonderful.
Okay, great. And how much are those properties worth?
The first property is probably worth about $210,000 with the $2,500 mortgage. The other one is worth $350,000.
Okay.
Sorry, the other worth is about $800,000 with the $145,000 mortgage.
Oh, okay, that's great. And then your primary, how much do you owe on it?
Good question. I am. This is what I'm in the process of buying in my primary.
Oh, you haven't bought it yet.
My budget is about $800,000.
Okay.
On that.
Okay, I gotcha.
Are you single?
No, married.
Okay.
But primary owner. Breadwinner.
Okay. How quickly could you pay off all of this? Let's say you depleted your cash down to just an emergency fund. You knocked out the two existing mortgages. How much could you put down on the next mortgage on the next property?
That's a great question, and that's where I'm running into some trouble is because I'm deciding whether I should, pay this $170,000 off and pay all these two mortgages, or use that for my down payment.
Right. Do you enjoy being a landlord? Do you enjoy the real estate part of life?
That's a good question. It's been uneventful for the last 5 to 10 years that I've been doing so.
I mean, they're great. I mean, you're so close, Ian, of having two paid for properties, and then they're going to be, cash flowing. And we always say on the show, obviously, it's not, when we say passive income, it's not really passive income because you have work, you have to do upkeep, right? You're flipping renters maybe once a year. So, I mean, there is work in there. But I do like the idea of, your diversification of having some rental properties, and you're so close to having them paid off, which I think is exceptional. So,
and it frees up those payments. What would those payments add up to? Just the principal and interest on both of those properties, if you freed them up?
Good question. If I freed them up and I'm getting rental income from both those properties, I could probably get $1,500 from one and maybe $3,000 from another, so $4,500.
That's great. And if you then threw all of that onto your new mortgage that you'd be taking on for your primary and knock that out within a few years, I think that's a great plan.
Got it.
There's not really a baby step for this because of the way you did it. We would say, hey, get your primary paid off, then pay cash for any investment properties. So we're sort of reverse engineering a lot of this, and the ultimate goal is to get you debt-free as quickly as possible.
Okay.
How much do you make a year, Ian?
About $300,000.
Okay. And the two other properties are near you, driving distance wise. It's not cross country or anything. Okay.
Yeah, 3 hours maximum.
Yeah, and I think I think that's great, Ian. And then if you get 2 years down the road and you hate your primary mortgage so much because you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to pay it off, then sell one of the rentals and pay it off. Yeah, or you can just leave it in that baby step 6.
So with the caveat, another caveat with this foreseeing is that if I use my savings to pay off the first 2 pay off the first 2 mortgages, I am going to now have very little money for down payment for my third mortgage / primary mortgage. And given the interest rate right now for mortgages, I feel like I might not have much sort of leverage to kind of decrease the interest rate, because my down payment will be low.
Right, so that's the downside, Ian.
Is that an acceptable risk?
Yes. So you could look at it then in that case, as you're running out all your numbers, that you sell one of these properties and take all the money from there and throw it at your primary and just have one rental.
Because either way, you're going to have a mortgage on this new property.
Yeah.
Because you don't have enough to do cash. You want it.
Yeah.
But if you're paying it off aggressively,
so I can have my cake and eat it too.
Exactly. Yeah. And the interest on this, if you do it our way and you pay this thing off within a few years, the interest is not going to be the deal breaker here. We're not telling you to keep this primary mortgage for 30 years. Yeah. You're going to knock it out, and probably knowing your income and what you have, probably 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, my plan was to take a 15-year mortgage, and then depending, So
let's say you took a $500,000 mortgage, and you can throw 100 at it a year, making 300. It's gone in 5 years.
Right.
And so that's the kind of math I'd be running, and obviously talk to your spouse about this and get the game plan. But if you're that close to freeing up the rental mortgage in properties, I like that plan. And so there's kind of debt snowballing in a sense of you're freeing up a payment faster is the goal here.
Got it. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for that clarity.
Yeah, way to go.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ian. Thanks for the call. Yeah, and I always feel
discussion.
Like, because it's always, it's kind of one of those things, especially if you want to get into the rental game, that if you already have them and you already have equity built in and you have as much margin as he does, he's so close to paying him off, and he has the cash to pay him off, right? So there's a part of you that's like, oh my gosh, instead of
you're about to get
selling
a $5,000 raise.
That's right.
If you pay these things off tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, and the power of being able to throw that at the primary mortgage. But again, all you listening and watching, I think that's the motivation, right? We're trying to get debt free as quickly as possible, while also looking and saying, okay, how can we diversify our wealth building strategy here by not just, retirements, but also with him getting in the real estate game, which I think is great, but doing it with cash, which is key.
And you could tell there's some calm in his voice. He's not freaked out. He's not desperate.
Yes.
He's making this decision out of a place of strength.
That's right. Exactly.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. To learn more about how to plan for retirement, visit RamseySolutions.com/retire or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.